What's up, everyone? Daniel Kaiser here on the brand new, shiny, still work in progress set of GT Live. And this is the countdown to Xbox. Of course, the big event is happening tomorrow morning, and we have got you covered from beginning to end with our pre-show. Tomorrow morning, Microsoft is announcing the next Xbox, and we've got you covered at 9 a.m. Pacific, which of course is noon Eastern, and then 10 a.m. is when all the action starts. Everyone is looking forward to it. Microsoft is, of course, counting down the final seconds, and we are going to be doing that right here tonight, counting down to the next Xbox. Brandon Jones, the voice of GT, is here. Brandon, what's going on?
Not much. I mean,
not much. Just doing some.
Just hanging out. You know, I heard we're going to get down here and talk a little bit. So
yeah, we're going to cover everything we need to know.
Xbox is it? Is that
Xbox? That's what they call it. That's what the kids call it. Daniel Bloodworth, of course, is down there. What's going on, buddy? And of course, Kyle Bossman is here. Sans the suit, but he's still here.
And I have his laptop.
And you have a laptop, so
I'm
you're
reading
still
your
professional.
comments. I'm reading all your Twitch comments and your tweets.
So if he just starts laughing out of nowhere, that's your fault.
It's because somebody did something funny.
It is. And of course, that's a very big point. This conversation is happening here, but it's happening online as well. You can join the conversation on social via our Facebook page, Twitter, and of course on Twitch as well. GT Live is the official hashtag that you want to use for us to see you on Twitter. If you're feeling fancy about it, you could use Xbox Reveal as well as another hashtag. But we're monitoring this conversation, and you will be a part of everything that we discuss. So what will we be discussing? Something funny was said just now.
Yeah, they called us out on our random camera switch.
Random camera switch. That's, I blame you back there, camera.
You don't
guys.
miss anything.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to be breaking down all of the rumors and speculation. Of course, there's a lot going on with the next Xbox, so we want to get you up to speed on what you need to know and all the latest rumors. We'll also be, as much as we're ushering in a new generation, we're saying goodbye to the Xbox 360, so we want to recap some of that, get your thoughts on that via the polls that we've had on Facebook. But we have a great hour planned, maybe a little bit more, discussing what you can expect from the countdown to Xbox. So let's dive in, shall we? And of course, I want to start with rumors, specifically the rumor about Kinect. Now, Kinect in this last generation of consoles was something that I think was a big miss. Hardcore gamers did not connect with it, of course, but the casual consumers did, and we did see some successes like Dance Central and whatnot. But the rumor right now, Bloodworth, is that the next Xbox is going to have built-in Kinect functionality. What do you think about that rumor? Are there any other details we need to know? Last minute, has anything else surfaced? And tell us what your thoughts are on Kinect in general.
Yeah, I feel like for Kinect, they really are going to have to do something that proves that it can do what they've been saying it can do all along. I think Brandon brought this up earlier last week. You know, as the marketing behind it has been so much more than what you could actually realize with the games. So I think it'd be kind of hard to get people excited about Kinect again. And I think, you know, at least by having it in the box, you know, they aren't asking people to like front up that cash for something that they may not even use. I do think it's interesting though, seeing that like, you know, some TVs like Samsung's and stuff are starting to kind of mimic those features as well. So, you know, it's you know, kind of in a weird space. Yeah.
Brandon, you talked about, as Bloodworth mentioned, that, you know, Kinect in this last generation kind of didn't, it marketed itself wrong. If it, you know, kept the expectations low and over-delivered, then it would have been much better. So what do you think they're going to do tomorrow?
I don't think it's a matter of keeping expectations low. It's just being realistic about the product that you're making. I mean, it's okay to make something, like the point I was making was with Wii Sports. I mean, that was not a really deep game that had all sorts of achievements and multiplayer online and all this stuff. It was just something you could play with your friends.
Yeah.
And bowling was the best sport, and that was just that was enough. You know, not only to carry that one game, but to carry that system.
Sure.
And so games don't have to be fun to be huge. I mean, the only times I broke out Kinect is I have, you know, I got a big backyard, so I like to have parties in the summer. And
you haven't invited me.
It was interesting. Well, you're never in town. You live, you know, on the other side of the country.
Middle of the country.
Well, you know, but. I really started looking at the library and thinking, like, what games can I have at a party? Like, yeah, I can, you know, have Kinect Sports, but like, somebody that has never played video games before at a party after 2 beers, are they going to be able to like navigate the interface and make something happen?
Yeah.
So I'm really attracted to ideas of something that's like super simple, that somebody can go on and have fun for a couple seconds and then move away. And having a lot of those, as opposed to like one game that tries to do everything and just falls flat, because the marketing sell it like this huge game that's going to change.
Yeah. Well,
it's
but
going to change everything.
With the next generation hardware, though, do you think they'll be able to realize some of the things that they envisioned in this generation? Meaning that, you know, the tech will actually support some of these, you know, kind of what seem outlandish experiences right now.
I don't think we're going to know until we actually play it. I mean, I think all the advertising we're going to get is going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
Where you see kids either having like kind of that McDonald's version of happy, where they're just like, more ecstatic than anything you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
Or some kind of CG blue screen counterpart where they just put a kid flying around and then they're like, yeah, it'll totally be like that. And then you get it and it's not. So.
Kyle, what are people saying about any comments thus far about the Kinect system?
No, all these comments are hilarious and irrelevant to what we're talking about.
We want to know what you think about Kinect, so leave some comments.
They're all
Do
super
we want to
funny.
know what they think about Kinect?
Kind
They're
of.
just throwing jokes out there. It was so funny. He says Kinect to wake me up when they talk about hardware. Kinect is hardware, kind of like we assume it'll be better.
Yeah, and we're
We
also
assume
assuming
it'll
if
recognize your fingers.
if Microsoft's invested a lot into Kinect, and they know it's their gateway to the casual audience, not just because of the games, but also because of this whole centralized living room experience, right? So, with the next generation, though, it might actually be the opportunity for them to realize some of the potential that we saw there. I don't know. We're seeing Sony depart from Move and other stuff as well. I think this is going to be make or break time for motion controls.
I also think, it's saying it's going to be, in the package, that it's not going to be built in, it's going to be packaged in, because you can't have a camera. The camera's got to be a separate unit, right? I mean, the camera's going to be put either on top of the TV or in front of the television. So, yeah, it's going to be a pack-in and not a plug-in. But, stuff like Wi-Fi being built in and stuff like that, I think we can expect. Because the Xbox, to me, was kind of the peripheral console. Kind of reminded me a little bit of like the Genesis with the 32X stacked on.
Adding
And
things onto your Xbox
there's just all these
360.
little
Yeah,
things that were great. I mean,
TLC.
that was wireless internet, of course. That's fantastic. And I own the same one I've had the whole time, hasn't broken. So like the stuff they make is good, but it definitely was like, the system that you plugged everything into via USB.
Now, one of the big things too with the original Xbox, we all know, I still have an HD DVD drive in my room, in my office back home, and just kind of to laugh at. But anyway, in terms of what they will announce tomorrow, I mean, obviously the rumors are Blu-ray. People are saying that that's going to be what they're going to use. Bloodworth, what are you hearing, and is that a guarantee?
Just to be super clear, I'm not hearing anything. I don't have inside sources.
I thought you came with a thing in your ear, and you're like, I'm getting word right now, Blu-ray.
But no, I think with Blu-ray, I think it's a matter of, do they want people to buy Blu-ray movies and play them on the machine? That's the only reason to actually have Blu-ray stamped on anything. Because, just as Nintendo's done for the past several generations, you can have discs that hold that much. You don't have to necessarily have Blu-ray, the branded name. But if you do want to be an all-in-one entertainment center, then maybe that's an option, or maybe you kind of skip over that and say, hey, here's Netflix and Hulu and everything else.
Right.
So yeah, I think that could go either way. I think that the kind of stigma of it being a Sony thing is sort of past now. I think that they could do it, but I don't think they necessarily have to do it.
Yeah. Brandon, what do you think?
It depends on what we're doing now in the industry, what we're going to be doing, and how long are we going to have this console? 8-10 years.
Yeah.
And so I think we're hopefully going to move past disc, stuff in that amount of time. I'm really excited about that. I really like being able to be mobile. I really like. I don't know. I'm doing something right now where I'm working on Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4, the first Modern Warfare game. And I downloaded it, installed it on my hard drive, and like that's great. I don't know. I just feel very safe having it on the hard drive. Like the disc, I could possibly lose it or not know where it is. And if it's tied to my account, I can download it anytime. It's between me and Microsoft or me and Sony that I own that game.
Okay.
That really excites me. So yeah, something as specific as how much data can fit on one disc, and that's what a game must be. I'm really looking forward to breaking out of that, to having some games that are something like Journey that are a little bit smaller, and some games something like Mass Effect that they the sky's the limit. They can make that as big as you want. I don't know. That really excites me.
Yeah.
Bandchan brought up a really good point here that the PC hasn't taken to Blu-ray, and it's
That's
just
true.
and PC's doing fine. Those games are great.
Yeah, but to Bloodworth's point, I mean,
it's about the movies.
it's about the move. It's about being a
multimedia.
centralized multimedia device.
Yeah.
And when you have that Blu-ray logo on your box, then when you go in to buy films or things for your kids or whatever, I mean, it makes it a viable option. So. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what they. I mean, that's really going to be interesting. I think.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be there. I think Blu-ray is going to be in.
You do.
Yeah. Are we taking a stand here?
Are you hearing
my,
something?
My stand's.
We're getting
Are you getting
reports.
this live now?
Kyle Bossman says.
Yeah.
Can we quote you on that?
No, my opinion means nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think why not? I think it's not about this like we're adopting the same format that the PlayStation 3 has been using. It's more just like the Xbox is about making the most like streamlined, simple system possible, you know. And so
That's okay.
they to make any speed bumps for developers? I don't think that Microsoft is interested in doing that. So
Well,
I
and
think
just, one interesting caveat too to your point about you loving to download the Call of Duty or whatever and not have it is, I mean, what happens tomorrow and what happens with the PlayStation 4 is we're going to see a lot of impact on the used game market, because if there's, depending on what they're doing with the disc, I mean, it's going to hugely impact stuff, which is a huge part of what people are speculating, how Microsoft is going to approach that. Do you guys have any thoughts on what the impact is, Microsoft's announcements tomorrow about the hardware and the disk drive, what that's going to mean in terms of used games?
Well, what I think is really interesting is EA's backing off on online passes. I mean, they kind of push that forward, all these other people copy them, and now they're like, hey, we're bailing on this, So is everyone else going to bail on that idea now too? I'm really curious to see where that.
But are they bailing
kind of
because there's
progresses.
something else that's like, parallel to that is going to be tying, I don't know, what I'm saying? They're making money off of that, so I can't imagine them just be like, we're going to ditch that without any, supplemental plan for making that back,
Right, but I mean, I think there's been so much negativity about EA. I think they feel like, that maybe it is costing them some sales.
Yeah, I heard they're a good company to work for. So, moving on, smart glass is something that people talk about a lot surrounding the next Xbox. And if you've got thoughts on smart glass, leave us a comment, because we're going to check in just a minute. But, Jones, what do you think about the integration of smart glass into the presentation tomorrow specifically? How big is Microsoft going to play that up?
I can't make any predictions on specifically what they're going to do, but I'm really, really excited about smart glass. I mean, I own a tablet. I don't necessarily want to control games via the tablet because it's kind of it's kind of a big cumbersome thing. But if you were to think about it as a controller, like I want my controllers to be a little more comfortable than that. But I'm really excited about I'm really excited about you booting up a game and the possibility of your iPad being like, oh, you're playing that, okay, whoop, and it just automatically starts up and boots the app up and says like, oh, so the whole social experience, I don't have to have interruptions, because I always turn that off, like notifications and stuff like that, if this guy's online or this guy sent you a message.
Right.
Like, if I'm into a game, I don't need distractions. But if I do want to open that up, I think the tablet is a very exciting way to get all sorts of crazy information. Kind of like what Nintendo's doing with, which I haven't experimented with, but their social channel.
Oh yeah, maybe something great.
And I think
Why can't Metroid crawl?
Yeah, exactly. And if you haven't seen that, that's amazing. But I'm excited about that possibly, instead of something like Nintendo, where all these companies have to funnel in through Nintendo, you can kind of gauge different interests from different companies based on them creating their own apps.
Yeah.
So there doesn't have to be like one universal app. I think that would be a mistake, just having like one app on the tablet. I'd much rather see like Rockstar make an app, EA make an app, Ubisoft make an app.
Right.
Like all the Watch Dogs stuff I'm hearing is really, really exciting. And so I'm very excited about that in the future.
Stuff?
Just possible, like mobile
Integration with
the mobile integration.
Yeah, on next-gen systems. That's weird. So, what do you think about smart glass?
Well, I'm kind of in the same ballpark as I don't think using it with games is going to work most of the time. I do think it might be a solution to, getting Rayman Legends working on Xbox.
Or getting it released.
Yeah, well, I mean, they are going to release it, but like it just seems like that's a game that like is so designed around like the tablet experience with another player.
Right.
It just seems strange to me that they decided to port that to other systems.
Right.
But one of the things I brought up, when I was brainstorming ideas for Forza is, Forza has this huge community and all this stuff going on that is not really actually driving. Like there are people that play Forza that actually just go in and paint designs for cars, and that's what they do, and that's what they enjoy. So if you could do more of that kind of thing on a smart glass, or oh my gosh, on the PC, having those kinds of things that tie into your games that that would make sense and would be able to keep you connected to other players in the auction house and that type of thing.
What are people saying about smart glass?
So Rip City 8-Bit wants us to throw down again. Wants
Okay.
us to say, between Kinect or Smart Glass, which is going to be the biggest improvement on Xbox?
Smart glass.
Yeah, I'd say smart glass.
Because the tablet stuff already works and motion doesn't. So
Right.
what we're waiting for with smart glass is like, oh, how are they going to use that? And what we're waiting for with Kinect is like, is it going to work at all? Like, is anything going to be legitimately exciting that we're going to play?
And so another person asked along those lines, do you think Wii U is just going to be meaningless if Smart Glass takes off?
Close, I think.
Yeah.
Sadly.
I don't think necessarily, because there's still not everyone has a tablet. I mean, a lot of people have tablets. But it really, the Wii U, everyone has that, right? You can bank on everyone having the gamepad. Whereas with Smart Glass, like we haven't seen it take off yet, and there's a reason for that. It's because people aren't sure of like how many people are actually going to be using this interconnection. So it's this kind of chicken the egg thing. It's like, okay, you need good things on there for people to use it, but without people using it, people aren't programming for it.
Yeah, but I mean, to answer that question, I mean, I do see that Smart Glass is going to be more of an immediate type of impact type of thing, whereas Kinect, depending on what they do, I mean, maybe we'll see more tomorrow, but I think that Microsoft's going to be more heavily invested in Smart Glass because of the fact that it is something, that idea that I could take out this device that I already have and start interacting with the game, or have notifications given me, or this augmented type of experience that we're not used to. They're providing the tools, and developers come up with the creative ways to use them. I think it's going to play a bigger part than we might suspect. But one thing that we know is a part of the Microsoft experience, and of course PlayStation and everything too, is this concept of achievements and trophies. Now, one of the big rumors is that there's going to be announced tomorrow that you'll have these cross-game achievements, the ability for a company like EA to say, announce.
No, they won't do that, Kyle? Are you hearing this?
I'm so upset about this.
You are?
Yeah.
I think it's kind of cool. All right, so we'll get your opinion in just a second, so just lean back, relax.
Oh, man.
And so, we've seen this before. We were talking earlier about, things where I was talking about playing Dragon Age and you unlock the armor in Mass Effect,
Right.
so this, that, and the other thing. But actual achievements that you could then be rewarded for by the companies. Do you see this being announced? It is highly speculative at this point. And what impact, if it is announced, what impact will it have?
Well, I think I'm more interested in this idea of achievements not being like locked down to like something that has to be put there ahead of time. This idea of like an MMO type event that you could create an achievement for people that joined in on that event. One thing that we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, I would really like to see something like this elevated form of achievements, kind of like how you have platinum trophies on the PSN, to where like here is something that actually means something. Here is something that actually takes skill to pull off, and that you have a space to kind of show it off. And because a lot of achievements are just meaningless, and it's just a bunch of numbers that rack up, and and if you're like Brandon, you have your notifications turned off, you don't even know you got half these things until you like go into your dashboard, like, oh, I got like 10 achievements today, I didn't know that.
Right.
So just something that's more interesting and less spammy.
Okay, Brandon, you were talking about achievements before as well, and talking a little bit about how it might augment your, what they do with achievements in this generation is going to be huge, because carrying over achievements, or from game to game, where do you see this going, and what do you think they'll talk about specifically tomorrow?
I'm not sure what they'll think about tomorrow, or what they'll talk about tomorrow on this, but I was thinking about gamer score and if that would carry over into the new generation, and I'm sure that would be a pretty mean thing for them to do, to like cut everybody off and start from scratch. But I was thinking about that wouldn't be so terrible. I don't think they're going to do that, nor I think it might be the best idea, but I like it if you think about every console coming out being its own social experience. And I think about, if Microsoft is going to carry gamerscore into infinity, so I'm going to be in like my 80s and I'm going to have like 5 million gamerscore, versus
Honestly,
it's on your gravestone.
That's going to happen. As long as Microsoft's around, I think that gamerscore is going to keep moving forward.
it's just interesting for like, me to have a kid, and then that kid, there's no way that kid will ever reach my gamerscore, and like, is that something I really care about? I don't know. I think it's more interesting, or potentially more interesting.
I don't know.
They definitely do, yes.
Yeah.
There's those people who are trying to get to 1 million first, and they're just playing games every single day.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. What are people saying about achievements? Because this
what does
is
Kyle Bosman say? We just kind of skipping his.
Well, because what's ironic is that he's antisocial and he's running social. I mean, I've seen him in several corners of the office, just kind of huddled up in a ball.
That's true.
And
yeah.
now he's here.
I hate this.
You're
I
not
hate
crying,
all of this.
which is good.
Yeah.
Tell us about your thoughts first, my
Okay.
friend.
Well, first of all, Ryan, our director, wants to stress the hashtag DT
GT Live is the hashtag.
If you're on Twitter and not using that hashtag, you're doing it wrong.
Shame on you.
Hashtags are serious. So the deal is, the rumor is that, there could be an achievement that says like beat the first level in Fuse and beat the first level in Dead Space 3, and you get this achievement.
Yeah.
And you guys think that's a good idea?
Well, I think having the tools is good. It depends on how the developers put it to use. Meaning that if you beat both Batman Arkham City and Arkham Asylum, when Origins comes out, maybe they could reward you with some sort of one of these, like, hey, now you can play as Deathstroke. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you're a fan of the series, and they now have the ability to identify that and separate you from the crowd.
So this goes well with from Ban Rennie B. Do you think any of the future games will actually reward fans who get all the achievements with DLC or other in-game elements versus just a number? So like you said, giving you an actual thing in the game. Do you think that'll happen?
I think it needs to happen. And
Well,
here's
Need for Speed has been doing that for a long time now, as far as like loyalties. Like they'll check and see if you have other Need for Speed save files, and then
right.
you'll get some almost useless amount of credits for that. But at least it's kind of a gesture that you're being rewarded.
And
for
I think that's going to be more
being a fan.
because we're talking more and more about digital distribution becoming more and more prevalent. Also, the idea that we're being nickeled and dimed as gamers. We all know, with pre-order bonuses and this, that, and the other thing, and this skin and that skin. So give some of that stuff away. And I think that the achievement system, if it is cross-game or enhanced in a way that kind of chronicles that, is an avenue to pursue. People playing more types of games, but also being rewarded in different ways.
I think social's huge. I mean, we're staring at social right now.
That's true.
And I think you said interesting words was gesture, and I think in this day and age, especially in the next generation, gestures are going to go a long way. Yeah. Like, I know a couple of gestures. I thought it was a really amazing, poignant moment to see the guys from Sony get up on stage and be like, "We're sorry, we got hacked. That was a terrible thing that happened to our community."
So that's what you mean by gesture.
And it's like, wow, they're actually actively talking directly to their community, and being very, very honest. And I'm wondering, what that guy's day is like, or what it's been like at work for him, having to deal with all this stuff. So I think if you respond to these things with that kind of transparency, that kind of one-to-one relationship with your consumers, and you give them cool stuff because they're giving you cool stuff, as in their cash.
Yeah.
I just think that really helps, balance that relationship out. And I think that'll go a long way. I think gestures will go a long way.
Any other social comments before we move on to the last rumor in our rumor section?
Okay, here's a crazy idea from Jay Boyd, 1829. What if achievement points were spendable currency you could use for purchasing DLC elements, like Ubisoft has done with their point system?
What if achievement points were...
Like you use them to spend,
I like that idea for sure.
as a DLC currency.
I think that's amazing.
I don't think that publishers would allow you to spend achievement points in one game on something for another publisher. Do you know what I mean? So I think like Ubisoft wants you to spend it within Ubisoft. Like I can't imagine it working in cross-platform.
No, you're not. But maybe even in game. So one of my favorite games of last year was Dishonored. I could easily see that playing out to where you get this stealth achievement, you do this, that, and the other thing. Next time you start a level, you actually have more currency to buy gear and equipment based, But at that point, it's not really achievements. It's just kind of...
Well, I mean, that'd be a kind of a really rocky economy, because it's like you're saying if something's 10,000 points,
Just
it's
like
well, I can get 10,000 points really easy in one game versus another game, and I might not own that game that I got the 10,000 points from. I might have borrowed it from a friend and popped it in for 5 seconds, and all of a sudden I got, paid for something. It's a really cool idea. I don't see Microsoft doing that, though.
All right, last rumor we want to touch on here is, we'll get to specifics of the price and our guesses. We don't know that that's going to be announced tomorrow, but we're going to talk about that specifically. But one of the things that, really funny comment, one of the things that we do want to address is the rumor that there's going to be multiple tiers of the next Xbox. So you'll have this $500 Xbox, you'll have this $300, you'll have one for like $40 if you give them blood or something, I don't know. So what do you, not this blood, because he's ours.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mr. Bloodworth, about the idea of having a tiered, we've seen this obviously already, but is that something that you think will be a part of the press conference tomorrow and a part of the strategy for Microsoft from day one?
It's hard to say what they'll do tomorrow. I have a feeling that will probably be more of the focus tomorrow, and then they'll save a lot of the big games for E3.
So the hardware and everything.
Tomorrow will be kind of the hardware plan, but I don't think that they'll go so far as to talk about pricing yet. But I do think it's interesting how last generation kind of introduced this tiered system for different consoles. And the other thing that's really kind of weird that Microsoft did to kind of flip the script is like the last year they've been offering this like subsidized like cell phone plan Xbox.
Yeah.
So for like I think it was like $99,
and then you buy
and
a couple
then the
years of
2-year
Xbox Live.
contract for Xbox Live. Yeah. You get a 360. If they do something like that, if they could keep up with like all the people that would cash in on that, they could kind of have a
really
potential of
successful.
changing, potential of changing how people buy consoles.
Yeah, on credit. So what do you think about that in terms of how are they going to be aggressive? Because like we said, that program has been very successful for them. So do you think that they'll come out of the gate with a model with several different SKUs that are going to be accessible at different price ranges?
Sure. I don't think we'll hear about any of that tomorrow.
Okay.
I think maybe at E3 they'll announce. I mean, yeah, they'll probably talk about the specs of the system, but I think. Yeah, I think that's something they want to get people excited, or at least I would think they would want to get people excited about just the idea of the next Xbox, and but basically bring it a little bit short between talking about specifics of what people are actually going to be paying for it, or how that's going to be broken down, and then because I think that just gives them too much time to think about it, because we probably won't see this until Q4 of this year, so that's a lot of time to really debate on whether you have the money or not to pay for it. I think if you get people excited and then you hit them with the price tag, then they're like, it becomes more of a quandary for them. It's like, wow, I was really excited about it, but now it's a little bit more expensive or cheaper.
True. Now, don't forget, obviously, tomorrow morning, I can't believe we're getting this close. It's getting very exciting that tomorrow morning, the next Xbox is going to be revealed. And we are your source for everything Xbox as Xbox A New Generation airs on Spike TV and GameTrailers.com in the morning, 9 a.m. Pacific. That's noon Eastern is our pre-show. That's when we go on air. We'll have special guests talking about up to the minute, the very latest details that you need to know before the main event, which goes down at 10 a.m. Pacific. Do the math. 1 p.m. Eastern, and that's when Microsoft is going to take to the stage and start taking the internet by storm. And of course, we'll be there. You can watch it live on Spike TV and GameTrailers.com. We'll even have a post-show with Microsoft's Don Matrick going one-on-one with Jeff Keighley, talking about everything that was announced tomorrow. So you definitely want to check that out. Now, as much as we're excited to usher in this new generation of Xbox, we've been polling the GT audience and everyone here in the offices as well to talk about Xbox 360. Obviously a very relevant platform, has been around for quite a while now. We've done lots of media on the site because we've had the time to talk about Xbox leading up to the reveal tomorrow. But we're going to spend a couple minutes right now talking about a segment that I like to call Memory Card Lane. Actually, I didn't name that.
You do like to call it that,
I
don't
do
you?
like to call it that.
You really enjoy it,
Even though
don't you?
nobody-
Sold that. I think
Nobody really
Ryan
uses a memory
Stevens
card
named
on
it
the
that.
Xbox
Because I
360.
said
I still have one, though.
memory card.
Memory card's gone? Kyle, have you heard anything?
Yeah.
Memory card's gone.
Memory cards gone. I'm hearing right now.
They're coming back. They're coming
in. Okay, so in this segment, we're going to basically discuss our favorite Xbox 360 games and give a little reason why, and then check in with our audience. So we have a poll, an official poll for this on Facebook. I hope you voted. And if you didn't, you can still interact with us using the hashtag, what? Say it all together. GT Live. That's right. Okay, so here we go. Let's start with you, Mr. Brandon Jones. Favorite single Xbox 360 game? What the heck is it, and why?
Well, I got to go with an exclusive, because I think it's kind of silly to talk about. Because anything I'm really excited about, like Red Dead Redemption is probably my favorite game of this generation, but I could have easily played that on PS3. I just happen to have played it on 360. But Dead Rising, I think, was probably my singular most exciting video game experience of this generation, where I experienced content, like Kyle likes to say. And just because that was exclusive to that system, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, social people, but I think that came out before the PS3 launched, so I think that was one of the first kind of next-gen, really silly next-gen game, and certainly doesn't hold up by today's standards of how far we've come in this generation. But I remember getting that game. I remember blocking out a whole day, which I really never do anymore, like just to play one game, and I almost got through that entire campaign in one sitting. And I really enjoyed it, and I just recently got an HD TV, and that was just a really pretty game. I really enjoyed it.
It defined the Xbox 360.
It was just it was a very unusual next-gen gaming experience. I hadn't played a game like that before, and like I said, it's a hokey game. It's a very silly game. I wouldn't call it like the pinnacle of this generation. But as far as memories go, that day was really fun for me. That I was able to probably mostly just to block out that much time. Yeah. That's probably what I'm most happy about. That I play video games for 6 hours, which I rarely do anymore.
Hey, what gets your blood pumping?
I'm kind of in the same boat with Brandon. Like some of the games I spent the most time with are not really exclusives, like Fallout 3 and Mass Effect and stuff like that. Somehow I became the go-to driving guy around here at GT, so the Forza series, I think that they've really stepped it up, and they keep stepping it up, and then, I was really excited for Forza Horizon last year. It was not the same old type of simulation thing, but it was more, it's kind of that nice blend of like something that feels kind of realistic but isn't too punishing. And then I just started messing around with the Rally DLC that that's way too expensive last week, and it's like this is pretty hard. This is really hard rally stuff. But yeah, it's just been like a great mix of having off-road stuff and open world stuff and street racing and all of that kind of like in one racing game.
Cool. Before I get to mine and the socials, who's the boss man of games in your life?
My favorite Xbox 360 game?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know.
See what I have
Thanks
to
for
deal with.
researching that before the
Yeah, great.
before our broadcast
I
here.
don't
Kyle.
either.
Compelling
I thought I was
What a great
supposed to give, like,
experience.
opinion. I don't know, like Mass Effect?
That's
Great,
my
thanks,
game
Tom.
too,
Moving
which
on.
just makes me feel really bad. Okay. All right. So do you have a
So
game?
yeah, I want to do social because I'm seeing like a ton of Bayonetta. I'm seeing a lot of Lost Odysseys getting a lot of callouts, which is
Oh,
really
that's
cool.
that's interesting.
Lots of Halo 3, of course, but I mean,
Yeah.
why not? And just assorted. There's like a lot of variety actually that I didn't expect to see in
There's
this.
Dead Rising.
Crackdown. Someone said, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Can you bring up our poll and we'll actually look at the numbers on that? And I'll
Sure,
just mention
but
that
you
the.
do-
Sorry, go ahead.
You do yours. I'm sorry that I ruined yours.
We could hash this out later, guys. The original Mass Effect was probably my favorite Xbox 360 game, simply because, a lot of people who know me know that I love the franchise, and although I didn't love 3 as much as I was expecting, and I think 2 is my favorite game, the original Mass Effect really kind of showed on the Xbox 360 to me where RPGs were going, and even though it was available on the PC as well, that was something that I just probably won't ever forget, playing the original Mass Effect. I had gone up to do interviews with Microsoft about the game and talk with BioWare prior, and I was just so excited, and then the game delivered. So, that game is very special to me, Mass Effect, and Mass Effect 2 I think is probably my favorite game of, this generation. But there you go. So what do people have to say in our Facebook poll that we uploaded last week?
Facebook definitely coincides with your own opinion. 133 people said Mass Effect 2.
Is that number one?
Yeah, it's number one.
Okay.
Beneath that is The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim.
Okay.
Beneath that, Fallout 3, then
Okay.
Halo 3, and then Uncharted series. Oh, wait.
Uncharted.
Yeah.
Wrong console.
That's the 5th entry. Is
Oh,
Uncharted
wait.
series.
Oh, wait. Okay, I got you. I got you.
Appreciate that.
That was good. How many
Red Dead
people voted?
Redemption's up there.
I got you, okay.
Mass Effect 3, of course, BioShock, Grand Theft Auto 4,
Well,
and Batman Arkham City.
I don't think there's any doubting, too, in that poll. And this is one thing I think Microsoft has to address in the next generation is console exclusives. I mean, Sony,
Sure.
with franchises like Uncharted and God of War and The Last of Us now and all this stuff, they've really done an amazing job with console exclusives. Whereas, really, when you think of console exclusives with Microsoft, really, I mean, Halo and Gears of War are really the only main, and Forza.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
Exclusivity is interesting because it's almost it's something I don't know. Like, from a journalistic perspective, if you were to ask me, if they had more exclusives next gen, would they win? I'd say yes.
Sure.
But do I really want that? Like, do I think that makes games better? Like, just to have it exclusive to something? I don't know. I think that it's such an issue because of how much Sony has dominated in this gen.
really have.
From you look like, oh, the downloadable market, and like they have the best games. And you look at like, oh, of the exclusives, you weigh them up. Like clearly, like there were some dynamite exclusives on the PS3, and so I think Sony's kind of made it an issue by how much. Is that just luck? I don't know. I mean, if you're the person making the decision at Sony of what games you buy, like, did you know as a fact that Journey was going to be amazing? Did
Sure.
you know Unfinished Swan was going to be incredible? Like. Do they just luck out because these games turn out being, to be amazing? Or,
well, I think that they foster that a little bit more in the Sony camp. That concept of, you come to PlayStation for these exclusives.
Yeah, I feel like they act somewhat as a curator a lot of times.
Yeah.
It's like they have an eye for these things. Like Unfinished One's a great example. I mean, this was this kind of weird little idea,
PlayStation
and they give people the time to kind of like make that work and turn that into like a really cool game.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's blaringly evident that, when there's really only one console exclusive that we're all talking about, that has to be a big point for Microsoft, or maybe they're just doing just fine, and it doesn't matter. But anyway, it's really nice to take a stroll down memory card lane. So thanks for joining us, and thanks for your input on that. Again, I want to remind you, we're going to see the next generation of Xbox games tomorrow morning. 9 a.m. Pacific is when things kick off with our pre-show, and then 10 a.m. Ryan's pointing at something.
Oh, we're saying goodbye to Bloodworth.
Oh, we're saying goodbye to Bloodworth. That's right. Oh, Bloodworth.
I'm just gonna kick him out.
I miss you.
I'm just going to be
already.
right over there. So.
Thanks so much for your insight. Thanks so much for your insight. Of course, as always, we appreciate it. And, we'll, of course, be following up tomorrow with all the big reveal stuff to continue to get your insight. But as I was saying, we're getting ready to introduce Mr. Patrick Morales is getting ready to take a seat, but I want to remind you about tomorrow's programming schedule, 9 a.m. Pacific, if you already haven't gotten this point drilled into your head, that we have our pre-show, and then at 10 a.m. is when things actually kick off with Xbox, the new generation reveal. That's the proper name?
Yeah.
I believe, yeah. It's okay. It's something like that. And then at 11, we have our post-show where Jeff Keighley is going to be talking with Microsoft's Don Matrick. So you don't want to miss it. And now we are joined by Mr. Patrick Morales. Good to see you, buddy.
How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Cool. That was so good.
I love this guy. And together we have normal hair, like balanced out length. Yeah.
Somewhere in between, we have Brandon.
And what a metaphor that is right now for what's happening.
You're like when you started applying the medication, and
Right.
then I'm like a couple months later, and
Exactly.
you're the finished product.
Okay, so speaking of finished products, there is going to be. Are we all in agreement that Microsoft is going to show the hardware tomorrow?
I don't know.
Raise your hand.
I say they will.
Agreement?
I'm on board. I think they're going to show the hardware tomorrow.
I'm at half mast right now.
Okay.
I don't think at all. No, I'm going to vote in the no camp.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
I will say one thing. I don't know. We're going to bring this up.
You know,
but-
E3 is like in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I know that. I just think the delay makes me really nervous. You know, it's like, I mean, there are all sorts of speculative reasons why, Microsoft could have delayed from their original time period. But I just see that as something that would change so much, for when we could actually, buy the console later on, that I could easily see that as something that they have not finished up on and are a little scared to, like, show something.
I would agree with you, but Major Nelson, Larry Erb, actually had tweeted during the PlayStation, or shortly after the PlayStation meeting, hey, you have a big console reveal and don't reveal your console, and you kind of called them out for it. And because of that, it seems to me, and that was several months ago. So because of that, that seemed to me to put in my mind at least that they're ready to show up with this thing tomorrow.
Fair enough.
So, and what will they show up with? We think we have an idea because we have taken our artistic skills and put them to the test to put mocks together of what we think the next Xbox is going to look like. Now, here's the deal. We're going to talk about this for a minute, but if you have something you want to throw together, or if you've been dreaming this up late at night when you're by yourself and you have nothing better to do, I don't know where I'm going with that, so I'm going to stop. But anyway, if you have that and you want to upload it, let us know, because we want to be able to share your what you think is going to be the next Xbox in terms of a graphic. So
They're
we
clearly
have
not going to be as good as ours, but
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
you might as well try.
Hell no.
You
Of
might as well
course.
put something together.
The easiest way for that to do it is if you upload it to a site like Imager or whatever, TinyPic or something, and then tweet us with that hashtag GT Live.
hashtag what? Everybody together.
That's going to be the easiest way
GT Live.
to find
That's
your
our secret
drawing for
word
the
today.
next Xbox.
Yeah.
What's
The
up?
secret
GT
word.
Live, that's our secret word.
Yeah. Brad Winter said I look like Mr. Rogers with this sweater, so I guess we can have this word.
I think it's classy.
You want to kick us off?
No, I
through
don't.
the
But
sign.
thanks for that comment, Brad. Here we go with the first mock-up.
This is
Okay,
from
this is
Mr.
from Mr.
Brown's.
Patrick
Uh-oh.
Brown's. Will
Did
you
you
walk
wanna-
us through
Are
your
we going
mock-up?
through mine
We're going to bring
first?
it up on screen, and then
Okay.
we want to look at your.
Sure. I think we're going out of order, but I'll be more than happy to share mine.
Sure. Why not?
So not a whole lot of people know this, but I actually have a passion for concepting and industrial design.
Oh, do you?
And I think that reflects in my picture
Dude,
today.
that is so good.
All right.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, you do this on your free time?
Yeah, totally. Are you guys
Do you want,
impressed?
here, do you want me to hold that up and you can point it
you
out?
Yeah,
have a
sure.
blog?
Yeah, let me walk you guys through it. So, in my idea, as we approach the next generation of consoles, often there's a call to remember, our past and the fond memories of Xbox. So, I believe that they're going to come through with a retro design here with the old Xbox, but they're calling it the 362, which I guess makes it the 3,600.
Yeah.
That's a big number.
That is a
Two?
big number.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Just take what you will from that.
Okay.
Roman numeral, I like that.
Right here, of course, they've been experimenting a lot with the Illumiroom, right? So they're going to be projecting the game image straight to the wall.
Wow.
You like
So
that?
no TVs at all.
No, not at all.
Okay.
And I'm also kind of taking a stab at what the future holds here with Blinks. I think they're going to reboot that shit.
With next gen.
He looks
Next
really
gen
good. He
cats.
looks HD. His
Next
face is
gen
so
cats,
good.
y'all.
Next gen cats.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then here, of course, we have our, target market.
They are too young to play
Enjoying.
Call of Duty, but they're doing
We
it
laugh
anyway.
as if giant cats have never been at an Xbox press conference when we all know they have.
They have. They have. Well, this is very. Now you failed to. There's
Oh,
a meter.
yeah.
There's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
meter.
yeah. There's one more thing there. So obviously, The Verge broke news that, possibly Microsoft will be abandoning the point system
Yes.
in the next gen. I take that literally. So now they're going to have money, which you can, pay on the go.
like literally have a meter.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think that's genius, actually.
Return to cash.
Yeah.
Everyone likes cash.
Yeah.
It's convenient.
They
So there you have it. That's my concept for the next
Well,
360.
I think
I love that you took that.
he
so
got a lot
seriously.
of lulls. I got to be honest. I think it's going to be hard to match up to.
Jones, do you have a mock?
I do. I was surprised. You know, we've had 2 Xboxes before, and neither one have done the obvious, the X-Men design. So what I like to call the uncanny Xbox. You have your Cyclops visor here, which is what you put your disc in.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
And then
That is
you
pretty
got
cool.
Shoot it back out.
and then you got the button that it shoots it that goes through your wall of your
cool.
living room.
I like
and then,
it. It's very Jim Lee.
Thank you.
Very throwback.
And then you got your power button right there, and all of this lights up when it's on, and it plays the metal theme from the '90s animated show.
Every time
Nice.
you boot it up.
As long as you're playing all the time.
I'm down. I'll buy that.
That's
It's
what smart
on
glasses
an endless
for.
loop because it's always in an endless loop in my brain. So
Right.
that's my design.
I think that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
I would really like to see that. I'll go
very
next. This is, I was a little more serious than these guys. I really think Microsoft is going to do something very sleek, this does not look sleek. But my point is that it's going to be minimalist almost because they really want this thing to be the center of your entertainment life in your living room. So what I'm trying to show here is that it's going to basically be a very sleek black box that has a curve at the front to kind of, if they go with the name Infinity, kind of speaks to that the way it lights up and goes around maybe the Xbox. And we have a slot-loaded disk drive here with the USB on the front, and then kind of just this little X pattern on the top to remind you of what you're playing in case you forget. And then of course this stands on its side. So that's pretty cool. But we always talk about them wanting to take over the living room, and as Brandon Jones pointed out, you could actually take this and put it on the floor because it looks just like one of those vacuums.
Like a
Roomba.
Roomba, and it just kind of
right.
clean
So
up the floor.
it doubles as a Roomba. That right there is next freaking gen, my friends. So
Sick.
So yeah, Xbox certainly not known for being minimalist.
Yeah,
in
and
the
all the-
past,
see, and if
offering
it-
some of the heaviest consoles and biggest controllers ever created.
and if it does double as a Roomba, then the PS4. If it does double as a Roomba, the PS4 fans will truly say that it sucks.
A lot of people say this looks like
they're
bread.
so bad, but they're all equally bad. You know,
No,
they're all
they're
like the same
good.
caliber of bad.
They're good. Now
You got a lot of bread comments on that.
Bread
A lot of people
comments.
are saying
It
it
looks
looks
like
like bread. Yeah.
dude. Maybe
like a
because I
piece
was
of toast.
toasted when I drew it. Oh, shucks. All right, so where's yours?
Are we showing it on this full screen or should I show it on a piece of paper?
I think we're doing both.
Okay. All right. Well, let
Have
me
you
pull
been
that up.
playing along?
Yeah, I know, but like, okay. Here it comes.
Antisocial.
So I'm taking a chance on it, taking a stab. I think it's going to be called the Microsoft Entertainment System.
Does that work?
Can we do that?
I'll
We
hold
got
this
that?
up for him while you explain.
So we'll call it the mess.
All right.
Yeah. So this is Connect 2.0. It's 2 big red eyes. They stare at you all times. This
Symbolic?
this button, do not press. There's the Blu-ray drive. There's the credit card swiper. Just if you need to buy anything, just right there in the system. There's a little storage area for your jewelry, your secret notes.
Where's that secret note? It's in the Xbox.
You go Xbox, open drawer.
The
and then
files
it
are in
opens-
the computer.
Yeah. It's 3 feet tall. And it's got this. The
Are these the eyes of Sauron here? Or what?
very close. Yeah. They never turn
The
off.
eyes
too.
of Balmer, more like.
Yeah. The eyes of Bulmer. And then the controller's mostly the same, but there's a new big button here. It's called the Facebook button.
Oh,
And you
nice.
just hit that. Yeah.
Down.
It's like the easy button.
Yeah.
Okay. This is great. So it is 3 feet tall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have a friend who works at Microsoft. This is basically everything he described to me.
Oh, are these leaked?
That's it. That's basically
Oh, shit.
It's going to be called the Microsoft Entertainment System, yeah.
The mess.
The mess.
Okay, we have one that was amazing too. Where's Rohan?
That's right
You
here.
got Rohan's. Can you
Bonus.
Let's walk through Rohan. Rohan likes pants, in case you didn't know, and he's one of the main men here at GT, getting us organized and all the content. And he took time out of his busy schedule to draw this thing up, which is
hold
the
on.
front and back. He's got front and back, so we'll walk
I
you
haven't
through
seen
it
this
right
one
here.
yet.
Right here, you'll notice the fuel flap, which is going to be on the top of the next Xbox. Apparently, he didn't specify if it's diesel or not, but it does have a fuel flap on the back.
Is it going to be so big that if a plane has to come by and refuel it?
Yeah, possibly, judging by their track record. This is the advertisement plate, part of Next Generation, and he writes that this plate will organically update with real-time ads via Wi-Fi, and it changes every 2 hours. And they're going to place this right on the side for you, according to Rohan, so it's super, super convenient. So you could buy new chicken, duck ducklet biscuits or something.
Ducklet bites.
Ducklet bites, whatever that means. And then there's 5 or 6 USB ports on the back of the console. And then up here is the Thunderbolt in jack in case there's ever thunder in your area.
Because we all know that Microsoft loves Apple.
Yes. So let's flip this thing around there. Mr.
Oh my,
Jones,
yeah, I
and
was
take a look at the
reading what was
front.
on the back there.
Here's another plate. I don't
see
know
that.
what this is. Oh, you know what this is? The advertisement's on the opposite side. This is the mirrored front plate because, as Rohan says, the device is the user. That's right. So you will always see yourself when you're playing, which for me is great because I can check my hair. And then up here, it has padded baby-safe corners, for the
casual gamers out
the
there.
casual gamers.
Them
out
babies
there.
love Xbox.
Again, the
Starting
fuel
young.
pad on the top. And then next Xbox, super drive 2 times the size of a regular optical drive. So it's going to have a super drive on that. So Rohan, I mean,
Yeah,
extra
credit for Rohan.
I think we might want to call Huey Lewis because this is it.
I can't every time.
Oh boy.
It hurts.
It's definitely the most feature-rich out of the lot.
Even the ducklet bites.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Where are
So
my
this
notes?
is, I'm bummed. I don't know if we can show what.
Can we show some of these?
Oh, do you
Can we put those full screen or can we not do that? Oh, we can't.
You can't.
Oh, bummer.
Why?
Some
What did
people,
you have?
They sent some really fun ones. Like, look at this one from Alice Gillen. My concept for the new Xbox. Here it comes.
It's a box.
It's a cardboard box. That's great.
The dumpiest cardboard box. That's funny.
That's good.
Good joke.
Well,
Alice.
obviously, it's going to be very exciting to see what they reveal tomorrow. I don't know how close our mocks are going to come to that, but Patrick, thanks so much for joining us here on GT Live to walk us through that. We appreciate your time and
Oh,
your
you're very
artistic
welcome.
talents, as always, and hopefully we'll see some cats tomorrow. Courtesy of you.
Next Gen Cats.
Of course.
Next Gen Cat. So thanks for stopping by. We're going to get ready to have Mr. Ryan Stevens come by the set here in just a moment, but I do want to reiterate that our programming starts tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, that's noon Eastern, with our pre-show in which Jeff Keighley will be talking with industry insiders, Stephen Totillo, Adam Sessler, Jeff Gershman will be on hand to talk about the latest rumors, the latest details leading up to the main event. And of course, we're going to take you all the way up to the 10 o'clock hour when Microsoft will take to the main stage in Seattle and unveil the future of Xbox. You'll be watching it live on Spike TV and GameTrailers.com in just a matter of hours. So be sure you are camped out in front of your TV and computer, ready to dive into the next generation of Xbox. Now, joining us here on set, the other white tofu, Mr. Ryan Stevens. Thanks so much for joining us,
Thank
buddy.
you for having me.
You know, this is the new
On the
set.
Kaiser show.
It is.
It's not the Kaiser show.
Feels
This
like
is actual
it.
real stuff. There's like a wolf behind me.
It does. Okay, so what we want to, we always respect your opinion. You've been in this industry a long time, and you have the ability. Even though you obviously have only one eye, it works very well to see the future.
Oh, we're gonna talk about my one eye. Oh,
Yes,
this is what it's been leading up to.
This confirms it though. I think he writes all of these beforehand.
I don't.
He was up last night and he was looking in the mirror.
I
He's
think
like,
he
I
has
can do
some
it.
kind of like
I can do it.
Nostradamus ability for lousy jokes. Like he just dreams them and then writes them all down. He's like, I don't know what order I'm going to say them in, but they're going to pop up.
Well, we want to talk about looking into the future to see.
Do you want to look into my dead eye?
Ryan, if you want a confidence boost, you're getting some nice comments on your shirt.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yo, Infocom. Text Adventures.
There you go.
XYZZY. Okay.
So that'll be on eBay after the show with the Ryan Warren game jersey.
And
So
my musk, my scent. Brandon smells really good too.
Doesn't he? Yeah, getting awkward.
All right.
So anyway, let's talk a little
why
bit about
I'm here.
looking into the crystal ball. I want us all to focus now on what we expect to see tomorrow during Microsoft's press conference. Not just what we want to see, but what we expect to see. So if you think that you out there in the viewing audience have some specific things that you know are going to happen, or you're just closing your eyes, both of them if they work, to be able to see that. I'm just joking with you. To be able to see
I haven't
what
cried
is
out
going
of
to
this
happen
eye
tomorrow.
in such a long time, but it could happen
Tears
now.
are happening. So let's talk a little bit about that, though. And let's start with you, Ryan. What do you think is actually going to happen, and what do you want to see tomorrow?
Well, what I want to see is the return of Jay Allard. It's been
Okay.
far too long. I want to know what's up with Zune. It's been a while. And then there's the Zune store. I wonder if what's up with Jay Allard.
Yeah.
What I
Can
actually
we start that trending? What's up with Jay?
Yeah.
Just during-
Do you remember he lost that bet with N Guy and he had to wear like the fake dreadlocks?
It's just
And
like
I called
early
it PSP.
Kotaku days, I feel like. Such a strange time. They had
Yes.
such an obsession with Jay Allard, and then he's like, guys, stop it. I'm just
The
a
best part
human
about
being."
Jay Allard was when he was like a Windows 95 developer. There's photos of him like as this like puffy dude who's like on the website like eating a donut. He's like, there was a start button on the Windows 95. What I actually expect to see tomorrow is I think it's going to be a pretty tight show. I think it's going to be very to the minute, pretty exact. I feel like Sony has a tendency to go long, start late. I feel like Microsoft, they're doing it at like their own campus, I think, and all that stuff. I think it's going to be very exacting. They're going to be really sure that they're broadcasting what they really want to broadcast. And to go, be a little less vague, I think we are going to see some games, and I think we're going to see a lot of kind of pushback to what PlayStation 4 set, and basically setting up a spike for E3. I would love, and again, this is going more on want, all the rumors, I don't think this one got brought up earlier, the rumors about them becoming more of having a stronger first-party pool of developers. I would love for them to introduce a new team. I mean, it's cool if they bring out Rare. It's cool if they bring out 343.
That's a cool idea.
Who makes the Forza games, Blood?
Turn 10.
Turn 10. That'd be cool, but I want them to be like, this
team.
is, help me with a new name, Kyle. It should be like Microsoft's new
Fish tanks.
R&D
Flourish.
69.
They're called Flourish.
Flourish.
Yeah.
XP.
Yeah.
8.
Flourish
Yeah.
XP8. Yeah,
Okay.
those are excellent.
I would
actually.
like them to embrace that, their heavy swinging, because they, especially in the United States, they've been like kind of a dominant force. I know worldwide the numbers are a little different, but they had the year head start, et cetera, et cetera. I want them to try to like claim the throne, just as I kind of wish Sony had seized it. I don't know if that's going to happen though, but I think it's going to be setting up a spike for E3.
Sure. Okay. Jones?
I fell in love. I believe it was Modern Warfare 3. I loved that one. I think it was E3 where they came out and just turned on the 360 and just started playing.
Yeah.
And like, that might not be like the de facto most awesome way to start a press conference, but I really loved that. And I know, we'll probably be seeing a Call of Duty game. Ghosts maybe.
Yeah, we will see
And so I don't know if you start with Ghosts, but it'd be really great, especially for a new game announcement. That'd be pretty crazy. Like, I think Sony got into trouble a little bit by making a big deal about stuff like. Knack, starting with Knack probably wasn't a smart idea, but specifically Blizzard, making the big Blizzard announcement, and then he comes out and says like, oh, yeah, it's just the game you've already played, and it was kind of like Arkham City on the Wii U, like, oh, okay,
that was the Arkham
just like a
edition.
weird thing to.
I hope Agnes Philosophy is there again tomorrow.
That would be so great. They get a special medal. They get a special achievement if they're at all 3 press conferences. But I really like that. I really like starting out with games. I hope we see lots of games tomorrow. I don't know. Bloodworth said it was interesting that he and it's interesting they are on the campus, so maybe it will be a more technically focused press conference, and we won't necessarily see a bunch of games. But
apparently,
that's why I'm 2 minutes.
If anyone listened to the most recent Major Nelson podcast, they did say it will be hardware at the reveal and games at E3.
Okay.
That's from David Byers. Thank you, David,
Thanks, Dave.
for listening to that podcast.
Yeah.
I wonder if that means, because we already know about Ghosts, I wonder if that just means there won't be demos. Maybe they'll just roll
Well, we
in
know
stuff.
there's going to be games. I mean, we know
Yeah.
Ghost is going to be there. We know FIFA is going to be there. We know UFC is going to have some sort of presence. And maybe these are announcements. But
Yeah, it could be someone going up, being like, hey, we have a game.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to see some stuff. I mean, otherwise they're buying TV, or is it whatever? It's going to be on TV. They
Sure.
want to make sure that it's something that's entertaining and informative.
Yeah, to me though, that is, if they are going to show the next generation console, do they lead off with it or do they close with it? Do they show this demo of Call of Duty
lead.
Ghosts and then come out and like the thing comes out of the stage and it's like there and there's
Maybe it's
So there's
So-
this. So there's a girl, right? And she's got it like in a bag.
Yeah.
And she comes out,
And
just
she-
like some random girl, and then she
Yeah.
puts it on a table. I'm thinking, I don't know. Why am
that
I
what
having
you
this
see?
image in my mind?
I don't know. What are you envisioning out there? What are we hearing on social here, Kyle?
Lots of jokes.
Lots of jokes.
A lot of people are hoping for announcements, but I guess with that Major Nelson thing, and also some rumors say that there's going to be no announcements tomorrow. They'll show games that we've already heard of tomorrow, but mostly tomorrow's about that hardware, and then the big, oh wow, this, and this
games.
is going to be happening at E3.
Who
Yeah.
mentioned Batman earlier?
He was talking
For
about
Wii U?
Batman.
Well, I was just thinking about how we got the teaser last week, and then today we got the CG trailer. It'd be interesting if it was like a tic-tac-toe, and tomorrow they show a little bit of the new Batman game.
Sony spent
But-
a lot of time in its press conference talking about something that was very relevant, but it was almost like they had to do it. They were forced to spend that time getting up to speed. reassuring both developers and the masses that this new PlayStation 4 is more developer friendly. And they spent so much time talking about that, which is a great thing. And it makes us feel very confident in the developers' availability to make great games. We've even seen the PlayStation blog produce videos with the Assassin's Creed developers talking about it being a jewel and all this stuff. And basically their point was, hey, guess what? It's not cumbersome to make games on the PlayStation anymore. So how does Microsoft counter that? Is Microsoft going to spend a lot of time talking about what? This is the next generation of what? We already know they've been great for developers in this console generation. So are we expecting them to hone in on something specific? Maybe just the raw power of the device?
I don't know what else they would talk about. If there's no games. If people
Oh,
are
man.
saying it's just going to be
They
a
can talk
tech
about
thing, that tech better be
They can
pretty
talk
awesome.
about the apps. They can talk about how it's going to be.
There's going to be a lot of boring stuff.
It's like you can load up a Redbox app or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it is going to, honestly, they'll probably do that. There's probably going to be like, and now we're going to show you how you can listen to music on the new Xbox.
But it's
and
only,
we'll all
only an hour
listen at that point.
So you think it's going to be 60 minutes of what's the boring to not boring ratio tomorrow?
Good question. I
Or
say
you don't want to take a nap?
30%,
Snack break.
30% boring.
30%?
Whoa.
Dead serious, 30%
No,
boring.
I disagree. I think they know that all eyes are on them. And let's not forget that this is unprecedented that we have these companies doing this prior to E3.
Right.
So they know all eyes are on them. They've got to make it sexy. And they've got to, they're building this special thing on their own campus. From what I hear on the Microsoft campus, it's getting pretty tense. And a couple of you got
Yeah,
that.
they got that. That was a
But,
delayed one.
but they know that everyone
got
is
it.
watching.
Can someone keep count here? I think that's 9. I'm going to start keeping count.
Okay,
That's 9.
so but all eyes are on them, right? So this has got to be big and huge.
I think for certain, I'm going to make a 100%
Oh, here we go.
prediction right now. This is
Here it
going
is.
to
Write it
happen.
down.
That there will be a montage of Xbox and Xbox 360 games. I said it.
I don't think
Wow.
they're
Said
going to
it.
have anything to do with Xbox 360.
And if they want to line up, I've said this before and I'll say it again, they need to have developers in a white background talking about why the system's cool. Nintendo did it, Sony did it,
Continue the trend.
they called them out.
Ghost of John Lennon shows up.
Whoa.
Okay. Thank you. Are there
That
any,
one down.
before we move on to the next topic, are there any legitimate type of things from our community about what they expect to see tomorrow? Mr. Kyle Bossman. Last Guardian.
Not a lot-
Legitimate, Kyle.
Yeah, not a lot of legitimate things, right? Like Last Guardian would be, that'd be a crazy
What
thing.
PS4 games will be on
Could
the
you
Xbox?
imagine them saying that?
Half-Life 3, like no. Connectimals 2, probably not happening.
Okay.
I'd say it probably is. I don't know.
Bloodworth says
Connectimals 2?
Is Frontier on anything anymore?
So nothing really. Holograms.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, Illumiroom. What do you guys think about the possibility of that being a real thing and that's like going to launch with the
It's
system?
real, like how the Surface was a table and then it became a tablet.
Yeah.
It's it's the CES room of the future thing at this point.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much for your input on that. And thanks, guys, of course, for your predictions. I want to remind everybody yet again, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, 10 a.m. is when the actual press conference kicks off. We'll be covering it live on Spike TV and GameTrailers.com. Don't miss a minute and check it out to watch the future of Xbox be revealed before your very eyes. Now, we
I
want
don't
to
understand why you haven't said that until now. That seems like really relevant information and
know.
something that our users would want to know.
Brad is going to be
figured-
So I think you should
that last one was for Brett.
be a little more vocal about the details, I
winners.
think, Dan. I just,
Yeah.
W.
I'm gonna get it tattooed.
They want
I'm
the
gonna
info.
pull a,
It's our
here
job to give it
more.
to 'em.
I have it all tattooed right here. Okay, so anyway, now it is time for us to do something fun. We are going to. You might be wondering why this little lockbox was here. Okay, it has nothing in it right now, but it soon will have these cards, and these cards are gonna. I feel like Chuck Woolery for some reason. Are going to be populated by.
that's a random one.
Well, yeah, who's Chuck Willery? Who's
You don't
that?
know who Chuck Woolery is?
Kyle's a millennial.
You're a millennial.
He hasn't made a love connection yet.
You haven't made a love connection with
I'm
me.
positive a lot of our audience doesn't know who Chuck Woolery is.
Look it up. All right. So anyway, these cards are
I
going
don't
to
think
get.
Dan knows that, though.
They're going to get populated with our predictions on the price, release date,
put my name on
and name of the next Xbox. And then we're going to put them into this box to be locked up until all that information is revealed. We're going to find out who was the closest on all fronts. And that person, my friends, is going to be treated very specially here at Game Trailers. Don't ask me how.
Okay,
I'm
so-
putting 2 X's on either side of my name in honor of all of the awesome gamer tags I've seen over the years on Xbox Live.
Okay, I'll do it too.
Straight edge.
Straight edge.
Guys,
But there's a caveat for price, right?
yeah, for price, I think it should be highest possible price because I think there will be multiple prices. I think we should
Okay.
bet on the highest possible price.
Okay, we need your input too.
Go to Facebook is where we have those, I think.
Yes, we have already a poll on Facebook. We'll get the results of those in just a moment. But let's hear exactly what you guys think. Oh, here's a very specific, Whiskey Jack 98. What is
November
this?
12th, $400.
That's
is
my
what Whiskey
birthday.
Jack says.
November 12th, $400.
What a birthday that would be.
He stole my answer.
Price, name, date. Okay. And
Price.
So let's go around the horn here. And Ryan, are you completed with yours?
In 1 second.
Okay.
Okay.
Am I allowed to cheat and look at a calendar?
I just wrote Tuesday, mid-Tuesday, because it's going to be like Tuesday, right? Maybe it's a Sunday. I don't know.
We're looking for a
can't
day, not like.
Yeah, give us a
But
date.
it's going to be a Tuesday.
We don't care. You got to give us the date.
I love how
Okay,
your
I'm
brain
going on my
is.
birthday.
Okay. So Brandon Jones, what are yours?
I don't know anything about anything. I am not Michael Pachter. But
Some people say he doesn't know anything either.
this is true.
But I love you, Pat.
I see. It should be higher than this. I'm probably going to regret it, but I say $400. I just think anything over 100. I think 300 was like our typical console thing. Is that what the previous Xbox launched at? And then like the PS3 had that ridiculous price point out of the gate, and so I think $100 more than your average console price, is probably what most people are expecting. So I think it'll be higher than 400, but I think if it is, people will not be happy about that.
Okay.
I'm just going to put the 8th of November. I think it's going to come out in November. I'm just going to randomly pick the 8th because it's a Friday, and that would be a fun weekend. And I'm going to call it the Xbox Odyssey.
Wait, is that a serious guess?
What?
There's already a console named the Odyssey.
The
Odyssey-
Magnavox
Odyssey
Odyssey.
2.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's going to be a confusion between the Magnavox Odyssey
I think
and
you
the
just
Xbox
wasted your
Odyssey.
bet. That is one you will certainly not win.
You're calling him out.
Well, I mean, is the name like what we actually think it's going
Yeah,
to be
yeah. What you
called?
actually think it's going to be called?
Well, I like that name. I'm sticking to it.
What if they do it? What if it's the Odyssey tomorrow?
Oh man, it's gonna be so awesome.
You'll be the king.
I don't think Ryan's is serious.
You will be king if
Kind of
that's.
serious.
Okay.
What is yours, Ryan?
So price, I also, unlike Michael Pachter, I'm an idiot. I'm saying $299.
Idiot.
I think it's going idiot.
$299.
You want to go out and play baseball game?
like the top tier model, $299.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you think that?
I think that there's going to be this kind of race to the bottom, and I hope that there, especially in the U.S., and I'm hoping maybe, though with the subsidized stuff, I think there could maybe be an offset, but I'm thinking that they're going to try to maybe make everyone buy the subsidized version so that they can just get more money in the kitty if they can get people to just buy the kind of the mid-tier one.
And the rumor I've
I
seen
don't know
is-
how many different types of hardware they're going to release, though. I guess that hard drive size is usually the biggest factor
Yeah.
for that stuff
So
these
the,
days.
the rumor I said was it's not necessarily subsidized like what they're doing now. It's like certain months of Xbox Live that you'll buy. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy?
I
So
haven't
like
heard
a
that one.
12
Yeah.
or a 24.
Or sorry, certain years. Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you're like
but
signed
is
up for
it's
2
at like
years
a more
Xbox
expensive price too, right?
Live, less expensive if the more years of Xbox Live you're
Right,
willing to
okay.
get.
So you're saying $299.
Yeah.
What about the date?
November 12th, my birthday.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's going to be called the Xbox backwards, the Zobix, because the 360 already kind of gave us the reverse.
Zobix?
Yeah.
Cool.
And then, like the new Guns of the Patriots, where it's like the Fox and the Zoff. I think these kind of like weird X sounds are going to be like really in vogue.
It's a fun thing to say, Zobix. It's way
Zobix,
more fun
yeah.
to say Xbox 360.
I mean, if people can say
I want to
Wii,
get that on Zobix.
Yeah.
if people can say Wii, people can say Zobix. And I'm going to go on the record. I think most game console names are really bad.
Yeah, so Zobix
Yeah,
is
Xbox
good.
360
yeah.
is not a great.
That's a bad
Xbox
name.
sounds,
name.
Xbox sounds awful too. You just get used to it. Wii, everyone was joking about Wii, and you just get used to it. But like
Yeah.
PlayStation, Dreamcast. I know some people
Zobix.
like Dreamcast. I actually liked the Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES. It just sounded like a thing,
Yeah.
as opposed to trying to like market itself in this like weird, cutesy way.
I don't know anyone who didn't call that a Nintendo though.
Right.
You never called it a NES?
Yeah, you coming over to play a Nintendo Entertainment System?
No,
not
just NES.
NES.
No, but the
No,
three letters.
NES.
I came over to play Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo or NES.
Yeah.
What about you? What are your guesses?
$499 US.
Okay.
It's going to be called the Xbox.
I've thought that. Maybe they just revert
I
back.
totally thought that too. No, really, I did.
Yeah.
No, I actually did think that.
That was a
But then
rumor.
I thought it was a horrible idea, and I didn't write that.
It's
Why-
going
it's
to
a
mess
good
up their
idea,
search
though.
engine optimization.
Is it
I
all
don't
that?
think that's all nonsense to me. And
Okay.
then November 5th. Count on it.
Ooh.
Oh.
Isn't
Okay,
that,
why?
Wow,
is that
you're-
Guy
you're
Fawkes
hearing
Day?
things?
What's up?
British people, is
so
that Guy Fawkes Day?
It's early on. Yeah, answer us, British people. What day is Guy Fawkes Day? I'm going
remember,
to actually assume
November.
that the Xbox will launch before the PlayStation 4, so that's why I went early November. So I think they're going to try to push for November 5th. That's my reasoning behind that, guys.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. Mine is $400 along with Jones. I feel that they're going to be aggressive about the Model 400. Seems like what it's not cheap, but it's also not super expensive. It's kind of right in that little comfort zone of, yes, I'm buying new hardware and it's going to cost me a little bit, but it's I think that's the sweet spot. Infinity, I think, will be the name that they go with. I think Xbox Infinity has been rumored for a long time. We've seen some evidence pointing towards the fact that it might be called that, and it kind of makes sense. You think about 360, and they want to be this thing. So you think about the whole marketing campaign with infinite possibilities, infinite experiences, infinite content.
Infinity is such a hard word to say, don't you think?
No, I just said it like 5 times.
Yeah, well, you're articulate.
Yeah. The Xbox articulate. How about that?
They're certainly taking it up a syllable, that's for sure.
Yeah. And my guess on the date is 11/11/13. I think that is probably really bad. It's stupid. I think it's
Is that when the
Monday.
Dreamcast 2 is coming out?
Right, but companies from a marketing perspective like to play with numbers, so either 11/11/13 or 11/13/13 or something like that. I
It
don't know.
won't be 11/11 because it's Veterans Day, I think.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
So the 5th was Guy Fawkes Day. Good call on that. That was amazing.
Okay. So anyway, I think it'll be that week, not the first week, not after the 18th or whatnot. So there you go. There you have
And then
it.
I'm going to fill out a card for the Facebook
Yeah. So on
questionnaires, too.
Facebook, we asked you. Let's first talk about the release date.
Okay.
11, 12, 13 is an interesting
11,
date.
12, 13.
Oh, you're right,
is
because
an
it just
interesting
sticks to
release
you.
date.
That's
Yeah.
a really good call, yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah. 11, 12, 13. That's I think
A lot of
Why?
people are
I
like,
am
they're
the
so on
Xbox.
board, too. Look
Yeah.
at those.
11,
Across the
12,
board.
13.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Guy Fawkes is how we say it.
Guy
Fawkes.
is how we say
Boy,
it.
governor.
Guy Fawkes.
So only
Alright.
you know the password?
Sorry, that was completely offensive.
So what?
Don't forget this password, guys.
I don't know how to open this.
Yeah, trust us, we'll
You
put it in
slide
there.
it.
Facebook says it's going to be between November 16th and November 30th. That's their guess.
Okay, so we did put polls, a poll option up. We had before November, November 1st through the 15th, November 16th through the 30th, the month of December, or sometime in 2014. And the leader on that you said was what?
November 16th to November 30th, which
Okay.
is kind of like around
So
our range,
mid to
too.
late November. A lot of people are looking towards Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's got to be before Thanksgiving, right?
Not
Yeah,
necessarily.
I think
Black Friday?
For Black Friday,
Oh, I get
sure.
what you mean.
Okay, so what do people say about the official name? What do people think?
Xbox Infinity is getting a lot of votes, so that's what I'm going to write down, which I think is ridiculous.
Why do you think that's
I think you guys are all
ridiculous?
buying into it. Everyone likes to hear a rumor, and then it's just like, that's got to be what it is.
Imagine
That's
yourself
confirmed.
going into a store and saying, "Oh, do they have that on Infinity? Or do they have that on
Listen, you
Do
didn't
they
even
have
hit-
Infinity on Infinity?
Wait, how much does Zobix get?
Zobix? Do you have it for Zobix?
Well,
I think it's Keanu Reeves.
the second highest voted thing was Xbox Anus, and then Poor
the
Man's
internet.
PC was number 3. So we can't.
What's
like,
number 3?
Poor Man's PC. This is funny.
I like
Good job,
Xbox by
Facebook.
itself. I think it's really classy.
I think,
because
yeah,
I think
it's just classy.
I think the problem you have with 360 and the problem you have with Infinity or Odyssey or anything is that it's like, oh, we're trying this Xbox thing. And it's like, you're not trying a thing. This is a console we're going to have for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And so I think kind of branding around like, oh, this is going to be like with 360, where they say like, oh, we're going to surround the gamer and that's going to be our experience. It's like, that wasn't really their mantra. That was their mantra for a couple years. And then they, the whole concept of what the Xbox was evolved.
Yeah.
And so
think Xbox is
Xbox console evolved. How about that?
Oh.
Nice.
But I just think once they call it the Xbox, and then you just say Xbox because there's no confusion about like
Yeah.
you're certainly not going to go into
And
the
everyone
store and
already
buy
knows
something
what
new on the shelves for the console that came out, over a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's really classy. It's very specific. It makes it less about what this one piece of hardware is and more about what the whole concept of Xbox is.
That's
Your
really good
thoughts
rationalization. I like
right
that.
in here. You should. Do you work for Microsoft? 'Cause you can't be
I
on
just think
this
that's cool.
One of the commenters on Twitch said Xbox Bacon, which I think
Xbox bacon. Because
Yeah.
everybody loves bacon.
I think like that's what like everyone would be like,
Except
oh,
for us vegetarians.
oh.
I like vegetarian bacon bits.
Are those good too, or is
Well,
vegetarian?
that's the
bacon
lower.
good?
The Xbox Vegan is the
I
$100
got
model.
bacon syrup and I had bacon coffee and it was disgusting.
That's great. I'm going to pull this thing back in. So here we go, guys.
Bacon.
That's your thoughts on what we can expect tomorrow. Some people say call it the box. That's pretty cool. But anyway, we really appreciate your input. Thanks to all you guys. Now, I think next up, what we're going to be doing is taking a look at a very special edition of a series here on GT. Kyle?
Oh, a very just birth series.
Yeah. What can you tell
Episode
me
2?
about this? Episode 2 of GT. Not funny.
No, it's not called. It's called Not Funny GT.
It's called Not Funny GT.
Yeah, and it's just like we're just how we do sketches. We just if we want to do a sketch, we just put it under this umbrella of Not Funny GT.
Oh, gotcha.
So that's just
So it
to,
could
like,
be anything.
It's to let people know, hey, this video is just for fun. This isn't serious. This is like this is just a thing we do when we want to have fun, make a fun video.
So this next video is not fun. It's not serious.
You're not gonna like it.
It's just a thing that we do, and it's something that we do for fun.
Did
when we wanna
I
make a
say
video.
out loud?
But
it's not
there's
fun?
there's a lot of if you look closely, there's a lot of hints for like the next Xbox in there.
Okay.
Look for Easter eggs. No,
Are-
just kidding. Don't.
Are we ready,
That'll be a whole
Damiani?
thing.
Make fun, not funny.
All right, drum
let's-
roll for
let's-
the premiere of the next
God.
Not Funny GT.
Ready? Ready?
Hey, no roughhousing.
Hey Ryan, what's the deal with this Xbox controller?
Oh, it's broken. We should probably throw it away. Don't
No,
know.
no. I could use it for something. I could make a video, and like I could honor it. You know?
Okay.
Hey, did you actually ever end up doing a video with Xbox controller?
No, I never had any good ideas. And also, I feel like people are getting really tired of us doing Xbox videos all the time.
Fair enough. Poor guy.
We have a problem.
Give me the sit rep.
Me and the other interns were roughhousing.
Damn it! We warned you.
I know. We accidentally dropped a very important USB stick into a hot pot of coffee.
How important?
There's an exclusive trailer on it that has to go live in 15 minutes.
Damn. Looks like we lost that exclusive.
Wait,
Xbox 360 controller? What are you doing here?
I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna get your exclusive trailer back.
I won't let you do it. It's too dangerous.
Who cares? I'm already dead.
No! Mike, quick. You did it, buddy. You saved the exclusive.
So cold. So cold.
You leave us as a hero.
Okay, this should easily solve our problem.
I just got an idea. I know how we can honor you. Goodbye, buddy. Hashtag fallen soldier. 4 retweets, 4 favorites!
Okay, so there you go. Not Funny GT. I actually didn't get a chance to witness that over there, but the comments.
You
seem
can
like
trust, yeah, they're not.
What?
I watched a little of it without sound, and I'm looking at the comments,
And it makes sense?
I think I get it.
Yeah.
I think I
So
understand what that was.
Tell us a little bit about the origin of that and what we just saw.
So that was a real thing. That was like a real, like, there was a real dead controller that.
With a skull on it.
Yeah, and I think it was Bloodworth just like was like we got to do something with this. We can't just throw it away. So then we made a video about it, about not being able to make a video about this controller.
And it talks.
Yeah,
It talks.
yeah,
Now, do controllers
what I was-
normally talk to you, or
absolutely not.
no?
No.
Just sometimes. I saw you talking to the Wii controller the other day on the final boss fight. So I think you're
Very
kind
true.
of lying there.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is me. That is me speaking through the controller, which I guess I do a lot, to be honest.
Yes, you do, and we all do. We all speak through our controllers because they are our gateway to awesome gaming. And of course, the next generation is going to happen. Segue. Hop on my segue. So what we're doing basically is prepping you for tomorrow morning, and I do want to let you know that you will see Microsoft reveal the next generation of Xbox tomorrow on Spike TV and GameTrailers.com. But I also want to mention to you right now that we are running a special sweepstakes. The Memory Remix Game Sweepstakes presented by the game Remember Me is going down on June 5th. Mark your calendars on GameTrailers.com. It's going to be your opportunity to win the next Xbox. June 5th, you'll have an opportunity to be selected to get the console when it comes out. So make sure you tune in to GameTrailers.com for that Memory Remix Game Sweepstakes presented by Remember Me for an opportunity to come home with whatever it is Microsoft's going to show tomorrow, the Infinity or the Zobix rolls off the tongue. But anyway,
Hashtag Zobix.
we're very excited about that. Now we want to open the floor to your questions. If you have questions for the crew here about tomorrow, about the Xbox in general, let us know right now. We're going to close out the show with a few minutes by taking your questions. So Kyle, do we have anything interesting thus far that people have inquired about?
Sure, this one's from like a long time ago that we should acknowledge. Do you think that the new console will be marketed towards competitive gaming or just casual gamers?
Who said that?
Tomorrow, anyway. Oh, that is from... Mike did not tell me who that is from. So thank you for submitting that question.
Whoever, you know who you are. It's hardcore.
Tell your friends.
It's got to be hardcore. Don't you think?
Yeah, if it's a tech thing, that sounds hardcore to me. If they're not going to talk about games, they're just going to talk about the specs. That smells of hardcore to me.
I'm telling you, it's gonna be like here and now. Here's your music catalog on your Xbox. I'm telling you, it's gonna be some of that stuff.
I don't know, man. Why?
Why? Because that's just like every time I get so hyped, and it's just like, and now we're gonna show you how your web browser works on your Xbox.
Z-Box.
Yeah. Do you know? I think that's coming. I think like the web browser part is coming tomorrow.
They're going to be like, everyone put on your Oculus Rifts. We're going into the CPU.
That'd be cool. I'd be down. Yeah. I'd be down for that.
N7 bridge.
What do you think? Hardcore, casual, a mix?
Oh, I think it's going to be a mix. I think they're going to, try to showcase the hardware in the most successful way they can to satisfy their various audiences, which at this point is everyone on Xbox Live, and people on the internet and TV. I think they're going to take it I think this is probably pretty well crafted, especially since like the rumors that it was delayed and whatnot. But they're gonna if they do show the new Kinect stuff, if there is new Kinect stuff, that obviously is a little less hardcore. I don't know if they're gonna try to shoehorn in that stuff to kind of get us excited. I don't know. Yeah. I think they will talk about the apps. I think they're gonna try to be very, very direct, and they probably won't go too deep in anything except the hardware over the course of 60 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I get the sense that they're going to kind of present, this is what our hardware is, this is what it does that's different than what our current hardware does, and you should be very excited about hearing more at E3. But I think that will skew more towards hardcore enthusiasts because let's not forget, they're answering the shot fired by PlayStation. And Sony's press conference, the Sony PlayStation event was very much geared towards informing the enthusiasts and getting the name out there and that this thing exists. But they didn't spend a lot of time in their conference kind of talking about why my mom would want a PlayStation 4, and I don't think Microsoft is gonna spend too much time doing that either.
Is your mom going to be watching the Xbox thing tomorrow? Because I think that kind of answers the question. Like, I just don't think that audience is going to be watching that.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
I definitely
my
get what
mom
you're
watching
saying.
the Xbox.
Hey, here's one that somebody's begging. Banjmo Tuck says, GT Live, I beg of you, give us your #1 prediction for the event. Which,
Okay.
I mean, I guess we've kind of done, but we didn't do our #1 prediction. I'd really like serious #1 predictions for the event.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's going first?
Xbox montage. Boom.
Oh, yeah, you totally did.
100%
100%
going
Xbox
to happen.
montage.
Going to start out,
Okay.
go through Fable and the Forza franchise
With 100%
beginning,
certainty.
and Halo, of course, and all that. And
Ryan?
I think, again, a little techie, a little nerdy, but I think RAM is the new hotness, and I think they're going to spend some time kind of juxtaposing they're not officially, I don't think they're going to say they're not going to say the word Sony or PlayStation the entire time, but I think they are going to probably focus on RAM a lot, because that seems to be kind of a hot button issue, even more than GPU or CPU at this point.
Boring, sorry.
Okay,
Kyle?
my #1 prediction is that they will have a teaser with Halo music, but they won't announce a Halo game. Like, they're going to end it just like, and now we're going to see you at E3, and then just that like little,
Okay.
so like Halo music
But you won't
comes
see
up.
anything?
You won't see any Halo tomorrow.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay. My #1 prediction, I guess, would be that they're going to open up with showing the hardware, that they're just going to go right out, like, maybe come in with a big demo, but then this is the next Xbox, and there's that moment, and everything goes crazy, and from there everyone's just trying to catch their breath and figure out what it does.
Do you think that would make more of an impact? I mean, like, would literally just like lights? Oh, I gotta hear what this is, or do we? Is
No,
it
this
safe
is
for-
funny. So as well, it's from when Ryan was talking about
sorry.
RAM, and it just says 3 other guys. WTF is RAM? Like like us, just like
Well,
not
random
knowing.
access
Oh.
memory
Yeah.
is where.
Okay.
No, Ryan, WTF is RAM. No, what? Tell us. Explain why RAM is that important.
Well, if I can use an analogy.
Yeah.
This is a desktop.
Sure.
This tabletop is your desktop.
You're not
And
using
here, on these desk drawers that don't exist,
Yeah.
is where you keep all of your files and your good stuff, your graphics, your textures, your sound. The more stuff that you put, and the table is the RAM. This is
Okay.
your Blu-ray disc, because there's probably going to be a Blu-ray disc. I'm going to go in and say that.
Sure.
The more RAM, the more table space you have, the more stuff you can put on the table and more cool stuff you can do.
Yeah.
And Gears of War was one reason that the Xbox had more RAM than it was originally supposed to.
Oh, I heard
so
that,
if you imagine if the Xbox didn't, wasn't able to do all these Unreal games, and Unreal kind of set that kind of set a standard for what to expect. So
Ryan, that was a fantastic analogy. Thank you.
I read that in like a Windows magazine in like 1996, and I was like, oh, this makes a lot of sense.
Oh. I heard this, like the library one, the same thing, shelves in a library.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Books, you could put so many books, but then like you add 5 more
Oh,
shelves.
actually, everyone hates your analogy. This is
Confusing
so
analogy
angry
is
about it.
confusing. How is that?
Come on, that was the Sesame Street
They
version.
hated
Horrible
that. That's
analogy.
so funny.
Do you want to talk about page swapping? imem.sys, autoexec.bat.
We don't want to ram home the point. What other questions do we have?
Please.
Would you
Hate it.
guys try naming some of the positives of possible always online rumors? That is almost a challenge.
That's a really good question.
It's one of those rip off the Band-Aid things that so many opportunities open up once you do that, but it excludes a lot of people that obviously will be affected by whatever technical reasons, whether your power is out or whether you're moving or whether you don't like the internet for some crazy reason. I think it's one of those things that will happen in the future. Like color TV, we'll just wake up and we are always plugged in, so it won't be such an issue. But
Were there people going, all this color on this TV?
Well, I mean, they had to buy more TVs.
Yeah.
You had to buy a new TV to replace the old one. I mean, I know people were pissed off when new systems came out, when the Super Nintendo came out, or when the Atari 5200 came out. It's like, I just bought one of these.
Yeah. But there's so many factors involved in the always connected console. I mean, it's not like talking about adopting a new medium or a new format, moving from, cassettes to CDs to, MP3s. I mean, the concept is still the same. You have this thing that does this thing for you. That completely changes everything. When you're talking about having an always connected console that is not going to function properly if it's not connected, there's so many X factors involved in making that process shake out properly that it's really daunting to think about it actually happening.
Well, to go back to the original question, I think maybe if all the SimCity lies hadn't been lies, the idea of making games that are actually feeding off of each other, like these kind of yes, people still want to have single player games, but the idea of like a bigger community growing out of things, or central processing powers and distributed computing, no one's really done it really, but can I mention Dark Souls? There is that kind of idea. Yeah. But there is that kind of idea where it would have been interesting if all of this stuff could really gin up like something bigger and more, I don't know, something more interesting than what we could expect, or something that's as locked down as we've seen in an MMO or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think it's a pretty small window.
So here's a cool question that I see popping up lots and lots. I'll try to form it all into one.
Okay.
Backwards compatibility and the Xbox 360. What do you think about for playing Xbox 360 games and also importing your old XLBA games, and even the other games you've downloaded onto your save files? Will those transfer over too?
I would hope so, obviously. I mean, but look at what Sony's doing. So I think that is an opportunity for Microsoft to differentiate themselves and to say, in that console war, to look back and say, we're not going to neglect everything that you've done. And maybe that ties into the carrying over of achievements and carrying over this experience, and maybe the fact that they want it to be infinite. which may or may not play into the actual device. But I think that actually is an opportunity. Therein lies an opportunity for Microsoft to separate itself and make something better. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think there has to be some kind of embracing of, especially if they start off with the montage at both these press conferences of look at all these old great games, and they come out and they're like, well, you can't.
Weren't those
you
great?
You can't play those anymore.
Yeah.
Like those games aren't a part of this experience, and so I think it's obviously a no-brainer. I can't make any accurate predictions on what they will do, but I think that'll be a huge loss. I just really like the idea of having a one-to-one relationship with a content provider, and between me and that person, like iTunes has gotten a lot better at this as far as owning music is concerned, where like you bought that album and it's done for the rest of your life, your contract with iTunes, you own that album, it's going to follow you whatever computer, whatever device you go to. And if there was some way to I was thinking about this, it's probably impossible, but like if I could destroy my disc somehow in the new Xbox, if I actually have the disc, put it in and then that disc is no longer playable, I can't play that on anything else, but it unlocks the Xbox knowing oh yeah, you own that, okay, I'll just log forever that's tied to your gamer tag that you own that game.
Benefit of an always online connection, I guess.
Right, but if you stole your friend's games and loaded them all up, that would be that'd be a really mean thing to do. So it's probably not practical, but
Ryan, you shrugged when you said that backwards compatibility matters. You gave
I like backwards
Shrugged you off,
compatibility.
but
I actually think it's a smaller factor for the vast majority of people, but I think people, I don't know, in this building, it's something we actually really care about a lot.
I make too many retrospectives. I'm probably not the person.
But again, obviously, Xbox 360 had limited backwards compatibility. It is weird. You feel like it's if they stick with x86 architecture and DirectX and all that stuff, you think it would be kind of easy to do an emulation wrapper or something like that. But the problem with your iTunes thing is, I buy some comics online. You can't lend them to people.
Right.
And I know the Kindle and the Nook and stuff have some sort of lending stuff.
Yeah.
And I know there was talks of Microsoft buying Nook out from Barnes and Nobles. I don't know if that ever went anywhere. But there's some pros and cons on both sides. And again, I'm curious. I haven't looked at the small print in a long time. But when you buy stuff from iTunes, do you own it or do you just lease it for an undistinguished amount of time? Because that's where I think the big issue is, are all this leasing stuff versus owning stuff, and how people don't own
iTunes,
anything
you own
anymore.
the songs. Like Spotify, you're leasing music, I think, is a fair example.
Okay, because
But iTunes-
there's definitely some weird stuff. I remember,
Yeah.
Again, going back to the Kindles, I know there was a funny story a couple years ago where a kid bought a 1984, and then the rights reverted, and they took it off his Kindle and all
Wow,
of his
that's
notes
really
and
funny.
stuff, and it's very Orwellian. So I don't know.
1984 in particular, I get you.
Yeah.
Okay,
jokes.
nice.
But you can look that one up. It's
Yeah.
kind of funny.
Well, I know, but that does speak a lot to what we've talked about and what has come up talking about this next generation about games as services as opposed to games as content and things that you actually own. Which the industry is certainly exploring that really hardcore right now. How to take a game, break it up, and basically sell it in chunks or whatever. And really, how the devices either foster that or reject it is going to play a big part. So if I think one thing we haven't talked about is hard drive space on this next Xbox. I think they're going to really try to make it huge and out of the gates.
Solid state or huge solid state or just regular?
Well, sharing. I mean, they've invested a lot in this concept of being able to store stuff, obviously, where it's best for you. But yeah, I mean, we're progressing towards that future where disc-based media is ultimately going to be a thing of the past, and how soon that comes, we don't know. But this is going to be a very important generation in how quickly that gets ushered in.
Definitely.
So here's an interesting question that we're all qualified to answer: is what would turn you off from buying a new Xbox, and what would make you buy it tomorrow? What's the best case scenario from tomorrow, and what's the worst case scenario for tomorrow, basically?
Right?
For you personally.
I find really high prices to be insulting, and I'm stealing that line from Justin Spear. But back in the day, especially when I was younger, looking at a Neo Geo, these are all, Neo Geo is cool, but some of the crappier systems like the Philips CDI and the 3DO.
That was awesome.
No.
Didn't it have Bonk's Adventure?
That was the TurboGrafx 16.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
That
Just
is
lost
awesome.
So much gaming.
I forgive you. These expensive prices, they just seem out of reach.
Yeah.
a lot of people, even at GT, didn't get a PlayStation 3 for a while because it was just so expensive. And we all waited for, I got mine when Metal Gear Solid 4 came out, so we all waited for that perfect deal, that storm. High prices can be a real deterrent, and the whole subsidized thing is, I know I'm speaking common sense here, but it's a huge
I was just
deal.
recalling Sony launching the PlayStation 3 for $600, and thinking that was, like, I didn't buy one. Did you guys for $600? Mm-mm. I mean, that was kind of crazy.
What would make me buy it tomorrow? Honestly, I mean, again, I'm just going to be really simple here, solid amount of games that I can't play anywhere else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you think of one?
New games.
Yeah.
Screw sequels. Give me some new games.
Cool.
New experiences where I feel like we're novelty vampires. I got to play Last of Us last week, and it's great. Loved it. But again, a lot of it seemed very similar. They did twists on like old takes, and I appreciate that. But I'm looking for these new experiences. I want new.
Okay. What about you, Jonesy?
Yeah, I think the one thing that I'm really excited about would be, again, just the second screen. I think there's a lot of potential there. I just remember playing, God, was it Wind Waker, where you could be Tinkle and Tingle?
It's Tingle. It's not Tinkle.
Tinkle's a terrible. Like Tinkle's a worse thing. But I remember they had some kind of.
Let's call him Tinkle.
You're right. They're both bad
you call him
names.
Tinkle, and he's really
They're
silly.
both awful. You're right. Yeah.
But they had I remember they had a Game Boy Advance plug-in, didn't they? With that, where you could follow him around a cloud and he can uncover things and stuff. And I remember like playing that for the first time, and I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna start seeing this stuff all over the place. And then like PSP came along, and I'm like, there it is. Every game is gonna have a thing where it connects in.
Yeah.
And that'd be great. Like if I was in, I should probably not say this for my coworkers, but if I was in, a meeting at work and I was, on my iPad and like a little thing popped up, a little notification that's like, oh, some guy logged into Splinter Cell. And I'm like, oh, sure. And I'll log in and I'll send him supplies, or I'll, check the map and I can see him walking around and I'll give him advice or something like that. I think that'd be, I think that sounds really interesting. And especially if that's something that Sony didn't have and Microsoft kind of, cornered the market on that. That sounds like a lot of fun. That sounds like something I'd love to experiment with.
Cool.
And no backwards compatibility would, at all. Like if they just pretty much wiped the slate clean and they were like, hey, you got your own console. Yeah, that would be a bummer. It's a tough question to ask me because I'm so addicted to video games that I am going to buy both of these consoles like the absolute millisecond they come out. But if something was to turn me off and make me sad, it would probably be no backwards compatibility.
Price, again, for me. I mean, because that's just... if it's out of reach, then it's just something that, I don't really look at it as an insult. I just look at it as I'll wait. I'll wait until it's feasible. Now, if there are killer games that I'm like, oh my gosh, that's going to be amazing, and I'm thinking of both the PlayStation 4 and Xbox 3 Next, whatever it's going to be called, when I'm saying this. But if the price is approachable, it's a day one purchase for me. Both of them are. As far as the Xbox specifically, I would love to see those types of innovations, but really, if we did see something exclusive that was going to be really interesting, because we talked about the lack of exclusives. So if we did see something really interesting from an exclusive standpoint that we knew was going to be a launch title or some sort of exclusive content or something, that would be very interesting as well. But let's all be honest. I mean, we're gonna buy them, So it's just a matter of when, really, depending on the price.
Yeah. So for me, okay, if they said Metal Gear Solid 5 is a next Xbox exclusive.
I like that. Do I have to say it like that?
Yeah, that's generally. If you're right, I keep using that voice.
Hands out.
Yeah. If the console were $1,200, I would still pay that to play Metal Gear Solid 5. Do you know what I mean? So that to me is the one that would say, yeah, I'll buy that. I'll buy that tomorrow.
Were you one of those kids who rented consoles a lot from Blockbuster?
No, I
was wondering who those people were.
But I have saved up. I've definitely saved up.
Nope, sorry, we're out of N64s.
But the thing that would break it for me, where I would say I'm never going to buy that, is if Kinect is required for every game. If Microsoft says, hey, if you're making a game for our console, you need to have some sort of Kinect implementation into it.
Even if it's optional?
No, they would say it's required.
Oh, wow.
They would tell developers every game is required to include Kinect functionality. I'd be like, no, I'm out. That's it for me.
That would be a huge turnoff.
On that note,
that's such a dark thing. Sorry, I wasn't even
we're all thinking about having to take the thing out of the box. And just, are you there?
Yeah.
Talk to it. It speaks to you. Okay, so do we have any last minute questions before we wrap up this edition of GT Live? Anything interesting here, Kyle?
Yeah. So a lot of people, they want to know about like streaming and the cloud, and if they're going to do the same kinds of things that the PS4 is doing. Is that attractive to you, the idea of streaming games into your console?
Yes. I mean, it's attractive to think about purchasing a game and starting to play it as it's downloading.
Oh, I think they mean the actual like Gaikai and online.
Oh,
Recording
yeah.
gameplay and stuff.
Where it's there's a farm somewhere that's
yeah.
sending you the signal and
Online
hopefully
and Gaikai.
I have to admit, there are so many times when I've been playing a game where I'm like, that will never, because I mean, you can imagine the stories that we tell each other at work, because we all work in, the video game industry, about the video game adventures that we have, and there's so
Yeah.
many times where I'm like, that'll make a fun story, but nobody will ever believe that I did that I made that sticky, shot, or that one random glitch happened in that open world game, and to be able to always capture that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no matter what, that I know I'll have that ability to just like rewind and just.
You're talking about the Sony capture the last 15 minutes
Yeah,
thing?
yeah,
Yeah, I hope that becomes standard, especially here.
That sounds like fun.
for every console.
Sure. That would obviously help us with work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be cool, wouldn't it? Because I feel like that happens a lot to you guys when something very interesting suddenly happens in a game, and I hear, "Oh, I wish I was hitting capture on that." Mm-hmm. That's so interesting.
Like that could be its own daily question show. Is like the PS4 moment
Rewind.
of yesterday.
Yeah.
Whatever. With like one person brings in their fun moment.
I would say though that if the OnLive / Gaikai type of mentality is standard, that it's kind of a double-edged sword. It increases accessibility, but I think it also kind of downplays the excitement or the value, because I mean people are going to really be just jumping in and out of so many games that. I mean, it's kind of like, now I turn on cable and there's like 500 channels of nothing.
I think the better analogy is people with their Steam lists, right? Like if they do a PlayStation Plus, like, look at my back catalog. I bought all these games for $1, I think you do something like that with PlayStation Plus meets Hulu and stuff. Plus how, audiophiles were like, MP3s sound horrible, back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
They still say that.
They do, but guess what? Everyone downloads MP3s and like, like.
Have you heard of Napster?
No, what is that? I'm not tired. But that's 10.
10 puns.
I
That
think
wasn't
we're on
mine.
12 now. I think we're on
Okay.
12 now. It was the RAM joke.
I think like we had an editor here, Shola, who had OnLive, and it can be like watching real video sometimes from like the late 90s where it's all blocky and stuff. But if you're getting it for free or if you're getting it for cheap, maybe you won't care so much. I don't know. I feel like video game fans are way more into high fidelity stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think it is going to be a kind of an interesting balance for where that sweet spot's going to be. Even for the quasi-casual player, the guy who buys Call of Duty maybe buys like 2 other games a year. Or the guy who buys Madden and 2 other random games a year. Watch Dogs looks cool. Oh, why does it look so crappy when I'm streaming it?
Right.
And again, that goes back to like larger questions of bandwidth. We're one of the few countries I feel like where you don't have to pay for how far you go, even though metered bandwidth is happening to a degree. And fiber optics, how quickly is that going to be like laid down? And I think it's a bigger question, but I think I'm jumping like years into the future. But if this thing is going to sit in our house for 10 years, and same with the PlayStation 4. I think those are things where they have to be forward-looking, but without detaching themselves too much from the current present.
Another interesting question along this line. Do you think that this next Xbox will be upgradable the way a PC is?
Ooh, that's curious. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting
That
question.
is an interesting question.
I think no. I think they don't benefit from making it upgradable
Why not?
because they can sell a new console later on. Basically, this whole iPad thing.
Then that kind of takes the steam out of the next,
Well,
if they ever want to upgrade to an Xbox 4.
Right.
you think
If they
it's
keep
gonna be
calling it
like-
Xbox,
it kind
though.
of
You
But
know?
do you think
Yeah.
revisions are going to be gating people from certain games? Do you think it's going to become more like a PC where you can have an original Xbox, you can have an original PlayStation, or you can have the Xbox S or the PlayStation 4, the newest remodeled one with the grill that looks weird,
Yeah.
and they'll all play PlayStation games. But the second, people like to harp on the N64
Expansion pack
as being like one of the few examples that didn't completely die on the vine like Sega CD or like the 32X.
Yeah.
And it's risky. I mean, it'd be cool if Rohan's Xbox is there, you have a Thunderbolt drive and you plug in your GPU X2 accelerator for better frame rates and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, we've seen better loading times with the Xbox, right? If you install the hard drive, supposedly.
Yeah.
So there's been some weird kind of gains in that
Yeah.
direction, but not exactly.
So probably not a focal point, but something that might enhance or augment the experience for those who are wanting to optimize the experience. Is that what you're saying?
It could be. I really don't know. I'm not sure what to say on that one.
The Bezo, what'd you call it?
What? Xobs.
Zobix.
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 You got
All
a
hail
quick,
Zobix.
quick trigger on that. Okay, So, any last questions? Are we all good here?
Do we have time for one more question?
I think we have time for one more
Okay,
question, right?
so-
We have time for one more question.
So when the
here.
Xbox 360, launched, they tried very hard to get a lot of good Japanese games on the console, and now they've basically stopped. They've basically given up. Do you see this new console coming out? Will they try to make an effort in Japan again, or do you think forever Microsoft's video game consoles will just kind of let Japan be?
That's a tough question because they really did try. They really made a really big effort.
I'm not supposed to reveal this, but 99 Nights 3 tomorrow.
2 million troops?
No, they really did try, huh?
They really did
spent
try.
so
and
much
even
money.
with the original Xbox, they got like Panzer Dragoon Orta and
Oh,
like
you're right. Wow.
and they grabbed some other PlayStation game. Well, I guess Odd World's not really a Japanese game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a hard battle to win. I think they'll still put their pinky toe in, but maybe they won't really make it one of their fronts.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see them being aggressive in that space. I see them kind of letting the market dictate. We've seen some games and them, like you've talked about, kind of be specific. And there was a time where they've tried that, with titles that have come up here today, the Blue Dragon, Lost Odyssey,
Blue
things
Dragon,
like
yeah.
that. But, I feel like they probably feel a little jaded. Like, hey, we gave this a really good shot. We
I don't
brought on
know,
all these
what
people.
more they could have done.
Yeah, exactly. If it didn't work then, why would it work now? Especially
Yeah.
when that market is not as into.
They would have to buy Monster Hunter, right?
Yeah.
They would have to buy Monster Hunter like exclusively.
Or Dragon Quest. I don't know
Yeah.
what to do for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Or Dragon's Dogma exclusive.
So to everyone who was asking that question, it's not likely.
It's not likely, according to our estimation. Well, an hour and 40 minutes in, we appreciate your time so very much. Of course, this was our effort to get you up to speed and entertained and informed before tomorrow's main reveal. But it's only just the beginning. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, we get underway with our pre-show for Xbox A New Generation Revealed, airing on Spike TV at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Also online on GameTrailers.com. If you want to see the next generation of Xbox, tune in, watch it tomorrow. Let us know your thoughts. We'll be following up throughout the day, of course, with coverage of the big reveal and incorporating your input throughout the day as well. And of course, we have our post show at 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Eastern. So thank you so much for joining us on GT Live, helping us break in the new set, which will get polished up in the coming weeks, of course, as we add a little bit more to it. But we appreciate everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you bright and early in the morning for Xbox A New Generation Reveal. Peace out.
It happens just twice a decade. The start of a new generation of gaming. New games, new experiences. On May 21st, only Spike and GT are live in Seattle when Xbox unveils what's next, including Call of Duty Ghosts. Xbox, A New Generation Revealed. Spike's exclusive coverage begins Tuesday, May 21st at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on GameTrailers.com. And immediately following the announcement, GTTV's Jeff Keighley is live with Don Matrick for the official post-show. Go behind the scenes for an inside look at the new Xbox as Jeff goes hands-on at Microsoft.